Time travel has captivated people's minds for decades. It sparks a vivid interest in the possibilities of exploring the past and the future. Could you ever peek into ancient times to understand the lives of ancestors or foresee the fate of future generations? This idea, although still in the realm of fiction, inspires the creation of many theories. I will show you 10 photographs. They depict people who differ in clothing and the technology they hold in their hands. How did they end up there, and are they truly representatives of another time? I will also show an airplane that reappeared 37 years after it was declared missing. Let's dive in. In 1928, Charlie Chaplin's silent comedy, The Circus, hit the screens. Its creation was accompanied by several difficulties. During filming, a fire destroyed the circus sets, along with some costumes and props. Additionally, some material from the first month was lost due to a lab error. Nevertheless, the film was completed and became the 7th highest-grossing black and white film in history. An interesting fact is that in one of the clips, not included in the main part of the film, a woman in a long black coat appears on the street. She is holding a thin black device to her ear, resembling a modern cell phone. The first person to notice this detail was documentary filmmaker George Clark, who studied the film for a whole year. His only conclusion was that we are looking at a time traveler. After all, commercial mobile phones only appeared in the 1980s. Notice the characteristic gestures of the woman, as if she is having a phone conversation. For the year 1928, these actions are completely inexplicable. Is it possible that this woman really came from the future, or is it just an optical illusion? This mystery continues to attract the attention of researchers and mystery enthusiasts, provoking many discussions and hypotheses. What do you think? Could she have been a time traveler? What do you see in this photo? It was taken back in 1941 during the opening of the South Fork Bridge in Canada. Experts claim that the photo is unique with no signs of Photoshop. At first glance, it's an ordinary crowd, but among them stands out a young man who seems completely out of place. At that time, men wore loose silhouettes, wide jackets, soft-collared shirts, and knitted sweaters. The young man's appearance in the photo sparks interest and bewilderment, his style clearly not characteristic of those years. This guy has already been dubbed the time-traveling hipster. Among the people in formal suits and hats, he stands in a cardigan and strange glasses, holding a small camera that adds a modern touch to the scene. His appearance seems to challenge the time and place he found himself in. The young man seems unnoticed by those around him, but the camera captured him, and now you see this unusual fact. The photo was first presented to the public in 2004 at the Brelorn Pioneer Museum's Their Past Lives exhibit. In 2010, it was digitized and quickly became a sensation among conspiracy enthusiasts, spreading across the internet. Many wonder, could this mysterious man really be from the future? Or is it just a coincidence that makes us look at history differently? What do you think? The World Cup is an event that every 4 years unites fans around the world. In 1962, the football tournament was held in Chile from May 30th to June 17th. 16 teams, selected from 57 national teams from all continents, participated in the competition. Despite high competition and a decrease in the average number of goals per game, Brazil won its second consecutive World Cup title, cementing its status as a football legend. However, the tournament is remembered not only for the magnificent play. In 2007, internet users discovered a strange detail in a photo of Brazilian team captain Mauro Ramos celebrating the victory. Look at this photo. The winning team is being photographed by a crowd of journalists, eager to be the first to publish the photo in the newspaper. They hold cameras used at that time. Everyone is engrossed in the victory and the opportunity to take a photo. But pay attention, among the journalists and cheering fans in the crowd, there is a person holding a device that resembles a modern mobile phone. It is surprising how such a device could appear in 1962 when mobile phones did not yet exist. Could it be that a fan from the future decided to visit the match of his favorites? This mysterious detail sparked a wave of discussions and speculations about the possibility of time travel, an illusion, an optical effect, or real evidence of interference from the future. What do you think? Could this be proof of time travel? Now I will show you another possible proof of time travel. But first, imagine how you rush to work every day. Take the subway or bus, take your kids to daycare, or stroll along busy streets. You hardly pay attention to the people passing by. What is the chance that among them there might be a time traveler? Take a look at this photo from the personal archive of famous American photographer Berenice Abbott. She was known for her photos of urban landscapes. One of her pictures from 1936 captures a bustling Union Square street in downtown New York with indifferent passers-by and vendors moving through the frame. At first glance, these are ordinary days from the distant 1930s. People hurry about their business, cars drive by, and no one notices the mysterious man who seems to be holding a mobile phone to his ear. Today, it's not surprising to have a cell phone, but at that time, it was unusual because such a device wouldn't appear for another 50 years. I can't imagine how this is possible. This photo has become the subject of lively debates. Some believe it's just an optical illusion, while others are convinced it's proof of a time traveler. What do you think? Is it possible that someone is already studying our past? Mobile phones sometimes appear in old photos when they shouldn't exist, causing bewilderment and amazement. Today, such devices are practically ubiquitous, but back then, it was an incredible revelation and even evidence that a person was out of their time. Take, for example, one amazing photo found in 2016 in Iceland. It was taken in downtown Reykjavik in 1943. The picture shows many soldiers in the uniforms of that time and passers-by in coats typical of the fashion of the 1940s. Take a closer look. Among this crowd stands out one man. It's a man in a hat, holding an object to his ear that looks like a mobile phone. People in the photo do not pay attention to the man with the phone, but this is understandable. It's wartime in 1943. But how did he end up on the streets of Reykjavik at that time? Perhaps this man crossed the centuries to change the course of history. His unexpected encounter with the camera made his journey visible to us. Is this a coincidence or evidence of the existence of time travelers? This photo has become the subject of heated debates and discussions. What if time travelers really exist? Or is it just an incredible coincidence? What do you think? Time travelers aren't only revealed by their phones. Here's a story that will give you chills. On July 2nd, 1955, Pan American Airways Flight 914 departed from New York. It was headed to Miami with 61 people on board. 3 hours later, when the plane was supposed to arrive, it was nowhere to be found. The search efforts were fruitless. Even the Coast Guard couldn't find any wreckage. There were no traces or evidence of the plane or its 57 passengers. After weeks of unsuccessful searches, the authorities declared that the plane had crashed and all passengers were dead. 37 years passed. On September 9th, 1992, at the Caracas airport in Venezuela, air traffic controller Juan de la Corte noticed an unidentified object on the radar. He double-checked the data to rule out an error, but the plane kept approaching, and within 10 minutes it was visible. The object turned out to be an old aircraft coming in for a landing. Juan hurried to contact the crew and heard these words: "This is Flight 914, en route to Florida from New York to Miami." The controller informed them of the date, May 21st, 1992. There was silence, followed by furious swearing. When the plane landed, it was recognized as Flight 94, missing for 37 years. To the amazement of airport staff, the captain refused to engage and gestured for them to leave them alone. A few minutes later, the plane took off again and disappeared into the clouds. Fact or fiction? I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. Share your opinions in the comments. As I mentioned earlier, time travelers are most often revealed by their cell phones. In 2012, the internet was abuzz with a short video filmed in 1938. It quickly gained popularity and sparked various opinions about what viewers saw in the footage. So, in the clip, workers from the DuPont factory in Massachusetts are seen leaving after a hard day's work. And then a girl appears, holding something to her ear and talking into this device. What could it be if not a cell phone? The video, of course, is low resolution, making it hard to discern what the girl is saying. But her hand movements are unmistakably familiar. It's the typical gesture of holding a phone to your ear that we all know so well. At that time, cell phones didn't exist, so many believe this girl is from another era. How else can her behavior be explained? Imagine her walking down a street in 1938 holding something that wouldn't become common for decades. Is she really a time traveler? What do you think? Write your thoughts in the comments. Do you see a time traveler in this picture? The photograph was taken in 1917 in Cape Scott Park near Vancouver. A young man immediately stands out dressed in a t-shirt and shorts that couldn't have been made before the 1980s. Look at how he stands out in the crowd. Everyone else is posing in the formal attire of the early 20th century, highlighting the atmosphere of that time. But this man, in modern clothes, seems to have come from another era. His tense pose and facial expression create the impression that he suddenly found himself in the shot. Although scientists usually dismiss the possibility of time travel, many internet users are convinced that this photo captures a time traveler who accidentally ended up in the past. Think about it. A guy in 1980s clothes among people from 1917. Coincidence or proof that time travel is possible? This photograph became a real sensation and the subject of heated debates. Do you think this man really slipped into the past, or is it just a coincidence? Marilyn Monroe, the American actress, model, and singer. She captivated audiences in the 1950s and 1960s with her roles as comedic blondes. As one of the most iconic sex symbols of her time, Monroe starred in numerous films that gained huge popularity. In 1947, Monroe was invited to be the face of the first cover of the erotic magazine Playboy. Her life and career are filled with mysteries and intrigues. Take, for instance, the rumored affair with American President John F. Kennedy. It was to him she famously sang "Happy Birthday, Mr. President" on stage. Marilyn's life continues to fascinate and captivate people to this day. What if future generations were so enthralled by Monroe's enigmatic charm that they sent a time traveler to observe her life firsthand? Take a look at this intriguing photo. Marilyn seems unaware, accustomed to being constantly photographed. But in the background of the room, there is a woman holding a device that looks like a digital camera or a miniature camcorder. I believe these are technologies that did not exist in Monroe's era. It's interesting to think about what secrets the time traveler could uncover about the real Marilyn Monroe. What do you think? Is this a time traveler or just a fascinating coincidence? I have shown you 10 photographs that possibly capture time travelers. They spark interest and debate. Some believe they are just products of imagination, while others are convinced of their authenticity. Whether they are true or fantasies of time travel enthusiasts is up to you to decide. These photos remind us of the importance of valuing the present, learning from the past, and not fearing the future. French philosopher Blaise Pascal once said, "The past and the present are our means, the future alone is our end." While our understanding of time continues to expand, dreams and aspirations are directed towards the future. If you're interested in seeing the world from a new perspective and are ready for change, we invite you to join our team. If you have editing skills, can voice videos in Russian, English, or other languages, or write interesting scripts, we would be happy to work with you. Contact us through our Telegram bot. The link is in the description.